Yes, Joanna, now ask your question. Yeah. Joanna, go ahead. Ask your question. Okay, so whilst we wait for Joanna.
Madam.
Go ahead, Joanna. Go ahead.
Okay, Madam, my question.
I don't like the madam. Joanna, listen. I don't like the madam.
I am myself and my circumstances. Madam, please, how does it mean by that?
I am myself and my circumstances. What have they done? Is that what I heard?
Okay.
Joanna. Hello, Joanna.
Dog.
Can you hear me?
Yes, dog. Please, I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Now, please go ahead and ask your question patiently.
Hello, madam.
Don't worry. There's a distance.
Hello, dog.
Hey, no, I'm asking you to be patient. I am patient for you. There is a distance. So it will take a while for what I am telling you to get to you wherever you are. And it will take a while for what you are telling me to get to me. So you will patiently wait. Okay? I'm asking you to ask your question again because we are recording so that your colleagues can benefit. So please ask again, Joanna. Well, I think we are losing Joanna. So if it is difficult for Joanna to voice out a concern, a question, can it be typed? Could you type it into the chat room? I'll read it for others to respond to you. There was a third hand. Let's take up Obed.
Hello, Doctor. Please, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
Please, it is about an idea I developed from Kant's view, and I wanted you to clarify it for me.
Okay, which of Kant's views are you referring to now, please?
That an action is right if it satisfies a certain rule or duty.
Which certain rule was that, please, respectfully?
Like universal. So according to Kant, an action is right if it satisfies the universal rule. Yeah.
Okay, so say it well, because that is not exactly what he says.
Okay, what I have here, he said, what makes an action right is that it satisfies certain rules or duty, and wrong if the actions is contrary to the rules or duty.
But when you use the universal, you didn't capture it well. I wanted to help you to get that so that you can situate your comment in that context. Okay, so he's not assuming that there is any universal rule necessarily, but he's saying that the best bet is to ask yourself, this action you want to embark on could be made universal. In other words, you just ask your own self, would I want this action that I want to perform now? Would I want it to become universally applicable for every situation, every time, at all places, regardless of context, preference, what have you? Would I want it? In other words, would it be workable? When you say, would I want it, people may say, yes, I don't care. I mean, if everybody has to kill to save a life, I don't care, I would want it. But it's not just, would you want it? Will it work? Will it be possible? So that is what he means by the principle of universalizability. The action can be tested, the litmus test for determining whether an action is right or wrong, according to Kant, at least at this preliminary level, is what? Is ask yourself, can this principle work, become operational, universally? Universally? If that can happen, then that action or that what you want to do, that action is right. If you can't make it a universal rule because of several work, we can't even have an organized setting, what have you, then it means it was wrong. So that is what Kant means by the principle of universalizability. The thing must be universalizable. However, not just the fact that it is universal and you can make it universal, but also you act based on that principle, not because of what you get from it. So he doesn't look at the consequences at all. Okay. Now please build your thoughts.
So please, madam, like, how would you know the views of others?
How
so
would
you might take the views of like how people are going to react towards it. So you might take some action, which in you classify it that it can be classified as a universal action. But when it goes outside there, it might not.
That is the point, exactly the point he's making. He's not saying you should think of what you like. He's not a subjectivist. He's rather saying that you should be interested in whether what you are going to do will apply everywhere. So he's more concerned about what others also would think of it, not just you. For example, if you said, I'm going to steal, or I'm going to cheat in the exam, because after all, I have to pass. He says that don't look at the consequences of you wanting to pass 90. That's selfish, says Kant. That will create a problem. Don't say that I want to have a good time this afternoon. So that is what I want. And therefore, if it has to mean what? Taking someone's daughter and having a pound of flesh of her without her permission. After all, it will make me feel good. The consequence will be good. If I have to kill one person from the boat as the captain of the ship, the ship is sinking, and I'm just looking at the consequences that, look, if we don't throw one person out, all of us will drown. The thing is sinking. So we pull one person out and throw out. And the only reason is, well, the consequences. We will save many people. Only one will die, and we'll save, say, if it's the Titanic, maybe we'll save 2,000 people, only one, by killing only one. The consequentialist, depending on which version, would say, well, that's okay. It led to the greatest good for the greatest number. Kant says, ask yourself that you want to kill one to save 99. If this idea of killing one to save 99, for example, were a universal law, will it apply all the time? Will it work? What if you were the one that is to be killed to save the 99? Would it sound good to you? If we know that we can kill one to save 99, we can tell lies depending on the situation. Then who will ever enter into any contract in the first place? Can we endorse indiscriminate killing regardless? Indiscriminate killing means all killing be killing. If you greet me and you didn't greet me facing my right side, I get angry, then I kill you. And the society says it's okay, we value that, we cherish that. The question is, would there even be any human society existing? So we could go on and on and on. And that is how, for Kant, we are able to unravel, open out what we already know. The right principles that must apply regardless of person. So he's making a case. That's why he calls it the categorical imperative. Category. It is an imperative. It is on you. It's a duty on you. It's not because of what will come out of it. We have to give to save the poor, because if we don't do that, one day they will become armed robbers and come and attack us. If it is because they will become armed robbers and come and attack you, and that is why you are giving, you are not acting out of duty, says Kant. You are acting out of the consequences. So it means if you build a stronger defense in your home and it will not be possible for armed robbers to come in, then you will not give. So this one for Kant is not what he calls the categorical imperative. So Kant is a very detailed discussion. But to answer you directly, he hasn't said that go and look for what you. Kant is not a subjectivist at all. What you think. But maybe your question is, so how will I also know what others think? That's what I just gave you. Check. Can it become a rule applicable to all situations, all contexts? That's what he means by, can it become a universal principle? principle, emra, can we make that applicable? That is, killing indiscriminately is right. Full stop. Everywhere. You know that can be. So then it means that by duty, we have a duty to avoid killing indiscriminately. If for some reason you kill, it is wrong. We don't care what the consequences were. It is wrong, period. Morally speaking, ethically. That's can't. Telling lies cannot be right, first can't. Why? It cannot be a universal principle. If it were, then when you write your exam, like I said in class, and you get 70%, I could tell you that you got 12%. And it would be right in our society to tell you that lie. So if it cannot be acceptable that way, why? Because it will affect others. You may be gaining today, the next minute you will be the one who will lose again. So it can be a principle. And that is the standard that Kant wants us to appeal to, a universalizable standard at all times, so that if there is a need to do something to help, you are acting out of a duty. You have a duty to act that way, not because of what the consequences are. That's why he's an anti-consequentialist theorist. Okay.
Please, madam. Please, doctor.
Go ahead, Obed.
I think there might be actions which you will take, and I think before the society will accept an action to be universally rule, they might consider the consequences which Kant does not consider the consequences.
No, but that is exactly the point.
Get me well.
No, Kant is critiquing your focus on consequences. That is what he's critiquing. Yes. He's saying that if you look at the consequences of an action, then you will embark on wrong actions and say, okay, my brother, if I said that because of the class size, our class, Phcl 102, is so big a class, there is nothing I can do. I can't be at 4 places at the same time. So I hold only 2 sessions. And each class can take up to 300 students. So I hold 2 sessions. If I hold 2 sessions, at least 600 students for main campus will have the time with me. Then I say the rest of you can go to hell. After all, it has benefited 600 people. There are 400 or so or 500 left. If the greatest good for the greatest number. So I have given the time that suits offended 600 people. It is useful to them. The rest of you, I can't be everywhere. So you can manage on your own. Find some place and go and be. By the consequentialist theories, at least crudely, what I've done is quite crude. It benefits many. So it is right. But Kant will say you can't do that. Why? Because if it became a rule that just serve those who can meet that time, as for the others, they can go and think about how they. That is not right. Others will lose. So the principle, Kant is interested in focusing on principle, not just the consequences. He thinks if the principle is right, the consequences will be right, regardless. So you can hold him up for the critique that we also raised against him. I think I discussed that briefly with you in class and in the lecture. People may become mechanical. That's a critique you can raise against Kant, but you can't force him to have a consequentialist posture. You should critique what is wrong with his position, because he's critiquing what is wrong with consequentialism. Killing is wrong, says Kant. Why? When I say says Kant, you understand? Because it can't become a universal law. When I look at your face, I don't like the where you put your what is the thing? Pawns this morning. I don't like it, cry. So I kill you back. Can that be? No. If that is not acceptable, then it means for Kant, the rule killing is right. It's not universalizable. It has to be what? Killing is wrong. He thinks that is what can be universalized. However, your critique will be, but doc, sometimes to killing we have to kill. So
to defend yourself.
Yes, maybe in self-defense. Then Kant will ask you, if you kill in self-defense, is it the same as saying killing is wrong? You see, so one is the main principle. The other one is the what you are using to qualify them, to contextualize the matter. But the principle underlining the action cannot be ambiguous. So we will not say killing has become right just because you had to kill in self-defense. We will excuse you. You yourself, according to Kant, you yourself, you'll not be happy with it. But it is because of circumstance. The circumstance caused you to do something doesn't mean the circumstance has turned the thing to be right. We are dealing with the rightness or wrongness of an action, not what circumstances pushed you to do. You know, a thief could come into your home and tell you that if you don't rape your sister, your own blood sister, he's holding a gun at your neck. If you don't rape her right now, I'll kill you, kill your mother, kill your sister, and the gun is at your neck. You may end up raping your sister. I said. It doesn't mean, therefore, that raping has become good. It is a situation that puts you there, which can be diagnosed later. That is why at the law court, we may sometimes punish people for manslaughter, and we will not call it murder. Meanwhile, in both cases, someone has been killed. But one is called manslaughter. It has a softer jail term. Sometimes you may even be excused if it is established that you were so pressed that you lost your freedom. What we will be discussing shortly. If you don't have freedom, your actions are not from free will. You cannot be easily held accountable. So you have killed, yes, but if it is diagnosed and it turns out that it was outside of your will, I mean, you were just stretching your hand like this behind you, then your hand hits a person standing there and he falls into the drain and he's dead. Oh, I didn't intend to. Yes, you have killed. Is killing right or wrong? It is wrong. That's why you'll be arrested. But when it is established, the context, shows, or whatever happened, shows that you didn't intend to, then perhaps, see how I'm speaking, then perhaps you may get a softer judge. So rather than the one who intended or being planned, schemed, maybe even with others, waited, had a lot of time, then decided to shoot the person after three months or something. That one will be considered murder. So all I'm saying right now is to tell you that the principle is what Kant is dealing with. And Kant's cases, there has to be an underlying principle for all actions that we take. And we cannot make the action right or wrong to suit us and not others. Right. Ask yourself then, according to him, to tell whether it is right or wrong. Ask yourself, if this were a general principle, will you like it? You see the golden rule. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. What you are going to do. If others were doing that to you, would you like it? And I say, when you ask it like that, those who have depraved minds and corrupt minds will say, yes, I would have liked it too. Meanwhile, they know they wouldn't. So you ask, if this were a universal law, will it work for us? A society that says, human society, generally, the whole world, is so indiscriminate killing. I'm not talking about killing that is contextual, but indiscriminate. I'm buying watch. I said put willy on it. Then you put egg instead. No, then I take my gun. I shoot you. And the society says, oh, feel free. We will do that here. Would there be any society left? Even if you go and stand somewhere, you say you buy watch, will you see any human being left? That's Kant. So the principle of universalizability, think of it as the golden rule, the categorical imperative that he's giving. It is imperative upon you. It is your duty to preserve that action, to embark on that action. Which action? An action or a principle, I should say, a principle that, according to Kant, is universalizable. Then you can now critique him for that. Okay. All right. Let's take, did the lady ask her question? Joanna, if she hasn't asked yet, let me take Rebecca, then I'll come back to Emmanuel. Rebecca, go ahead. Rebecca Annan.
Hello, doctor.
Hello.
Doctor.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Please, is there any possibility that man has no nature by Ortega and then Plato's allergy of Cape? Is there any similarity between them?
Okay, so thank you for the question. I think they are reacting to Ortega's paper may react to Plato. Okay, it's a reaction. If I say that, it means it's responding to someone who thinks that all things, physical things that we see, have what? an essence. That is Plato. They have that which makes them what they are. There is something in a thing that makes it what it is. All things, essence. And then they go further. Plato goes further to even include human beings. Because human beings, physically, you have a body like this. Plato believes you have an essence. There is something in you that makes you what you are, just like the table, just like the phone, etc. And for Plato, it is that which is real, that which is in you, the essence. That is the real you. That is the real you. That is the real you, says Plato. Then Ortega comes and says, well, I can agree with you, essentialists. You people who emphasize essence of things, who believe that everything has an essence, without which the thing ceases to be what it is. I can agree with you. When it comes to inanimate, if you like, objects like the stone, in the class I included the table, the chair. They are inanimate. So if you say they come into this world prior to it, they come into this world with their essence, with their real nature, that they come with something that is fixed, unchanging, and stable, given to them prior to their existence. I can agree with you on that. On which ones? On natural things. Why are they natural? They are natural because they come with their fixed, unchanging, what's the other one? Being prior to it. But Ortega cannot agree with Plato and his essentialist friends when he includes human beings, what he calls man, in that set, and says that man too has a fixed, unchanging, if you like, stable nature. And by nature here, like I said earlier, we mean that which is fixed, unchanging, and given to man prior to his or her existence, which constitutes his what? Essence, what you are essentially. Ortega says, look, you can't tell me that human beings too are like that. And then he gives his reasons for saying what he's saying. He says the stone cannot change its being, can't contribute anything to what he or she is. Did I say he or she? Can't contribute anything to what it is now. The stone has no contribution towards its being. But human beings, or man, as he uses it, man, even though man has a natural bit of herself that she cannot do anything about, like the parent that gave birth to her, for example, the desires that we feel. I mean, human beings didn't negotiate that they want to be able to feel hungry. It is part of your makeup as a human being to feel hungry, feel thirsty, have desire. And see the implications of that. This natural part of you can make you go and steal and be arrested. But the stone doesn't steal, doesn't rape, because it doesn't have the natural ability to desire for rape. So what? So human beings are also like the stone, but what? But what? According to Ortega, what? Only partially. It is a human being is just partially like the stone. There's a part of man that is natural, that has the animal-like nature, the natural things, the way natural things are fixed, stable, unchanged. Every human being will continue wanting to eat. Local few matters. That one is there. However, Ortega says you cannot say what you say about stones when you are referring to human beings. So he's still reacting to Plato, if you like, or the essentialist. He's saying human beings have another part of them. They are able to contribute to what they have been made. So what they have been made now won't define them. We are talking about nature that which defines the essence of a person. Ortega says the stone may have the stone may have essence prior to existence, but not the human being. When it comes to the human being, he exists first with the package that he or she has been given. then he creates an essence for himself. That is the connection between Ortega and, if you like, Plato or the essentialist. Auntie Rebecca, is sorted.
Please, yes, doctor. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Now I'll take Emmanuel again and then go to Abdul Rashid. Emmanuel Tibwa, go ahead. Say. Because I see your hand up. Yeah.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Please, that is assessing Plato's theory of knowledge.
Whose theory of knowledge?
Plato's theory of knowledge.
Yes, what has it done? I didn't engage that bit of it, but you go ahead. What has it done?
There is a statement that, but we can reject the claim that knowledge requires certainty and argue instead that it requires only justification. So I want to
just
know.
Speak up a little bit more. You are quoting him. We can reject that knowledge requires certainty. And do
yes.
What? Which page is that? So that others can share in it.
Page 23.
Those who have your text, you can go there, page 23. Which line specifically? Let me read so that we don't take things out of context.
That's the fourth paragraph.
1, 2, 3, 4. Knowledge and certainty.
Yes, please.
Okay. Which line?
I think the second to last line.
What is happening there is not what Plato is saying. It's a critique. Yes, it's a critique of him. Can you see that?
Yes, please.
But
so what I want to understand.
No, we didn't discuss Plato's knowledge, his theory of knowledge. We discussed his theory of reality. But if you want me to throw some light on it, it will mean I have to explain, so much about his theory of knowledge. I didn't do the divided line and all that with you because I want us to focus on someone else for epistemology. When it comes to the question of knowledge, we'll engage Descartes. It will be seminal for you. But if you have a specific question on knowledge and certainty for Plato, ask it. If it will not be confusing for you, I don't have it for the class, I will respond to it. If not, I'll ask you to send me a personal note because I didn't discuss that with you. You understand? So you ask the first thing and then I'll see how to situate my response.
So my question was that justification there, like on what grounds is it to be made? Like, you are justifying knowledge. I don't understand.
So someone is critiquing Plato.
Yes.
Okay. And the person is telling him, let's read together, but Plato controversially sets the standard for knowledge very high. This person is saying that why should knowledge be defined only by that which is intellectual, non-physical? Okay, why can't we accept empirically grounded knowledge? Why is the person saying that? Because of how Plato defines knowledge. He thinks that every other information coming to us via the senses is not knowledge. It is what you reflect on, you use your intellect, reason, mind to attain. That is true knowledge. All the others are just, according to him, opinions, like I engaged one of you earlier on. So the person critiquing him saying that it looks like it is controversial because if I'm a scientist or someone who depends on the empirical, you studied Locke, George Berkeley, Aquinas, others in time, you see they are extreme empiricists. They do the opposite of what Plato does in terms of the sources of our knowledge. Okay? So because knowledge by definition cannot be false, it seems he believes that knowledge must involve certainty. This is the person, again, examining Plato and saying that the way Plato insists that if it is knowledge, then it shouldn't be possible for it to be false. If that is his criteria, Plato's criteria for determining that which is knowledge and that which is not, then the author who is critiquing him is saying, then that will be quite a strict definition of knowledge. It would actually be looking for what? Certainty. Then we go on. If we cannot be certain, we cannot know. This is the person's critique of Plato or his examination of Plato's view. You understand?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm going on. Now, Plato argues we can have certainty about the forms and so know them because they are unchanging. But we cannot be certain of or have knowledge of particular objects of sense experience. We have already said that. But we can reject the claim that knowledge requires certainty. This is the author's critique of Plato, telling him that, but we too, we can, in other words, he, the author, can reject Plato's insistence that knowledge must be certain. In other words, knowledge must not fail. If it is knowledge, then it shouldn't become false one day, that the earth is in the center of the universe. If we knew it, then later on you shouldn't come and tell us that what we knew was false. Not knowing, it is rather the sun that is in the center of the universe. Plato's issue is, then what we said we knew then, it wasn't knowledge. We didn't know. We just had an opinion then. If the doctor says with these fibroids, you can't give birth, then later on, by some other means, you get pregnant and give birth. Then the scientist's information that he gave you, that medical doctor's information, according to Plato, wasn't knowledge. Because if it was knowledge, it shouldn't have changed. Now, this author is saying that we too, we will tell Plato that then we too won't agree that knowledge must be true all the time. It must be certain all the time. Certainty means it can't be false. This is the author's view. He's critiquing that. He says, and we will rather argue that it requires only justification. So the author will say, knowledge, this author is saying, knowledge must not necessarily be based on what? That which is certain. But we can say that which has grounds. There is a reason why I said what I said at that time as a doctor, that you can't give birth. So it was still knowledge, except that now I have a better justification or a better reason that you don't have to use your womb. Perhaps you have to use so and so other means and you still give birth. So if I am able to justify why I said what I said, according to this author who is critiquing Plato, then it should be knowledge, regardless of the fact that it has become false currently or it can become false in the future. This is the author. So he says, in fact, Plato put forward an argument of this kind in the Theaetetus. I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Now, if those of us who are engaged, because we didn't do all of Plato's knowledge, the theory of knowledge for Plato proper, don't stress yourself much, but the clarity was needed. So I helped your friend out with that. Abdul Rashid, go ahead with your question, please.
Good morning, Doc.
Morning.
Actually, Doc, I'm having 3 questions, but let me say the other question will be based on how you answer the first one. So my first question is there any compatibility of Ortega's claim that man has no given nature with his other claim or view that man is free by compulsion?
So were you at the in-person lectures?
Yes, I was there, but I came late.
My brother. Because I gave you a critique. I gave the class a critique of the claim that we are compulsory by nature. Excuse me, we are compulsorily free. I shouldn't have said by nature. We are compulsorily free. In other words, we cannot choose not to be free, which is the claim of Ortega. And therefore, why we may want to critique him and say that then if we didn't choose to be free compulsorily, and we cannot choose to be unfree, like he's saying, then it might seem that being free is essential to our nature, to our being. And so it becomes that which defines man's nature. Therefore, man actually has nature by his own argument. We are not imposing our view on him. We are using his own argument here to say that then perhaps man has an essential aspect of himself given prior to man's existence and which man cannot do anything about. And if you take away from man, he's unable to create any essence for himself, like Plato said, Ortega says. Therefore, that thing becomes man's essence. So it is a critique we have raised in class against Ortega.
Okay, then my second question is, Plato made a statement by saying that the world of ideas or the world of essence, not the visible world of actual things, is most real.
Are
so
you
I
reading?
want a clarification.
Are you reading? Please, are you reading?
Like he made a statement.
Are you reading?
Made a statement.
Are you reading?
Yeah, I've written the question down.
Okay, because when you are seeming to quote someone, you have to reference us so that you can all check. Then we are clear.
Oh, okay, then this with this the doc, I read it and then I'm getting the source now will be very difficult.
No, you don't understand me. There's a reason why. So you ask the question that this is what I think.
Like he made. Okay, he said like the word of essence.
You think he said
not the visible
hello,
world. Yes, yes, I think he made a statement of that nature.
Can you slow down? I'm helping you here. So that if he didn't say so, then I can help you see what he said. But if you are referring to something that we are looking at, then we would have all gone there, because sometimes we misread the person. Okay. Okay. So Abdul, just ask the question, and then I can help you clarify. Go ahead.
Okay. Per my understanding on his like theory of essence, he said, like I understand him by saying that the word of essence, not the visible world of actual things, is not most real.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, we heard all of that. What's the question now?
So like I want, is it also related to, like, can I use this kind of explanation by saying that like our soul is pure and it rules over, let's say, our body?
But that is what we have been saying all this while. So it's nothing new, unless you came in so late that you missed part of the lecture. And this is not another lecture, Abdul Rashid. Plato has insisted that everything that comes by the senses, every knowledge acquired by the senses, in fact, before we even go to knowledge, whatever we acquire, when I say we acquire, how do we know that we are sitting here? If it is what I am seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, or smelling, then that thing is not real. The visible, the sensible, what we sense, the one that we feel, we taste, they are all not real. So the real table is not the physical one you see, but the one that the idea of tableness, that is what is real. That is what cannot be destroyed. That is what will continue to exist regardless of time and space, etc., etc.
That is so the word of form is the actual, is the essence of it, not the
that one was said at the lecture hall. You missed the lecture. Say engage the video lectures. Okay, I'm trying not to so that we don't have a repetition of the lecture. It will not be helpful to you. Okay, so just engage the recorded lecture, and then I'm sure I'll post this interactive session also, hopefully. Then you can add that and then read the text. All of that has been said. Okay. All right. Is there any other question? You said you had 3, Abdul Rashid. What's the third one? And try and make it on time. And we have a last in-person session during the 6th week after your imminent.
No, it was related to this clarification. So for what you said, I'll cross-check it out.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Let's take Emmanuel, your hand is still up. Is there another question? Emmanuel Tibua.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Please, in the video, this argument, please, I want to know if it's the same as the critic against the existentialist argument.
Oh, I didn't hear you. You went off partially.
Okay. Please, I'm saying that in the video lecture, I saw this question.
Yes.
Can you detect a tension in the existentialist arguments? Please, I want to know if it is the same as the
critique we have raised. Yes, I think so. I think that can be a key, one thing that stands out. You are claiming that people do not come into the world with any essence prior to their existence. So you are insisting, Tega, you are insisting that existence precedes essence. You exist first before you create an essence for yourself. But then as you argue, you seem to highlight the necessity of what? Free will in the man's creation of his or her essence, such that without free will, a person cannot be able to make choices. You should be free to choose so that you can define yourself. And then he even worsens the matter. Page 2 of your Ortega's reference that I've given you, the second page, I think it's page 30, your comparative. Point 2, he says you are free by compulsion. You are free by force. Outside of, you don't choose not to be free. So choosing not to be, you are so free by force. If so, then it seems that being free is that which distinguishes man from the stone. And we didn't choose to be free by nature. We would have chosen not to have the capacity to feel any desire. And guys, if the sister comes and shows you everything, you are looking at it. Have you seen a stone raping a sister before because she came to show something? Or the government has gone to arrest a stone or a tree because it went to steal? No. So if we had a choice, perhaps as humans, we would have chosen not to have the ability to eat, to steal, to have desire, so that it won't even make us anxious for everything in this world. Everything people are fighting for. My brother, if you stretch it all the way, the end is no few, so we can get deliberate. What if we didn't have the desire for? Then we may not even need to come and study Ortega and these people are pushing truck. I'm Robert. Someone is using stone to hit the brother's head to kill him. So you get what at all? So pride. So you feel that this is my house. Square. That is my house. That's all. So if people didn't have this desire inside them, the natural need to fulfill these desires, would there even be the need to create any essence? Now he will say, this state of the auntie, put the thing off. We are trying to communicate here. May I do? Ortega tells us that this capacity of choice is compulsorily fixed inside. You didn't choose to be free. You are compulsorily free. Prior to your existence, not before you existed. Then it means he has now given us by himself something that is essential to our nature prior to our existence. Something we have by force. He uses the compulsory, not me. We are free by force, whilst the stone is not free by force. So in addition to having our natural part, the stone won't have the capacity to choose free will. Human beings are compelled to be free. And even if you choose not to choose, you have chosen. Then we see that there is a tension. When we see a tension, it seems that it doesn't fit well. So he has given us an evidence to use against he himself, Emmanuel. Okay.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
Nice questions. You people are doing well. You are reading, Papa. I'm shocked, Po. That's good, eh? I'm going to release the assignment after my marathons today. There are so many online sessions that I have to do today. Let me take Jude. Unless, Emmanuel, you still have an additional question. You can ask because there is no hand up. Jude, go ahead. Jude Nate.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
So, yeah. Doc, Plato's theory of forms, if some aspect of nature is partially fixed and changing, then I think Plato's theory of forms does not stand for me.
Please come again. I'm sorry.
I feel like nature.
Excuse me. Sorry for interrupting. But whose view did you capture earlier? That some aspect of nature is partially fixed. Whose view is that?
That's Ortega's view.
Ortega hasn't said that. Oh, please, who is talking Ortega, there? Pastor, we are recording. Ortega hasn't said that some part of nature has done what?
No, I'm saying as a human, like I'm trying to use nature, but Ortega says the human actually has two sides, which is the fixed side and the changing side. So, no, but I'm trying to put
no, that is not. Please let me help you. That is not what he has said. Okay, that is not exactly what he has said. He's saying, Ortega says, man is constituted by two parts. Man has two parts. Man is partly natural and partly extra natural. The natural part of man just means the part of man that he doesn't choose. It's choice. Choice is central to Ortega. There is a part of you that is given to you. You didn't choose it. That is what makes it natural. Nature. Your mother, you didn't choose the mother that will carry you. So, I didn't choose the mother that will carry me. So, God forbid, if my mother had a certain bad character, say she was a prostitute or a thief or an armed robber, I don't choose her. I am born by her. I just live. I come into the world and realize she's my mother. What can you do about it? You can't change your mother. That's one example of the natural part. So Ortega says, so that should not define you. It can be the essence of you because you didn't contribute any. Who went to ask permission from God that I want to be born by so and so mother or so and so father? If he is good, choose me. We thank God. You were born by who is the greatest woman on earth? Having all the great accolades and riches and fame and all that. Thank God. But Ortega says, don't celebrate that and think that you are that. Because that is not what defines you. What is essential by his argument too. Let's understand what he says. Then now you can critique him. Otherwise, you hit a straw man. When you say you are hitting a straw man, you will be critiquing something that the person hasn't said. So he will wait for you to finish all you are saying and tell you, and who says I said that? Then you have to carry your bucket and go home. So let's get his point. The natural part of man, nature, refers to the bit about man that he didn't contribute to. He didn't choose it. It was given. Just like the stone didn't choose to be a stone and can't do anything about itself. But then he adds, Ortega adds to man's being. See, not his nature. Nature is fixed and unchanging. Being is what you are. And he is telling you that you are not just that thing, fixed and unchanging. You will keep changing. So you are not natural. You are not nature. You have an ongoing being. Today you are this, the next day you are like water. The next minute, if you put it in fridge, it is ice block. The next minute, it is vapor. The next minute, it has become this. So you can't call water a block or vapor or whatever. It depends on what he is doing at what time. Ortega says human beings have that part of us, the choice, the ability to choose. And when you say the ability to choose, then you are making a claim of free will. You have a will to go A or B. That one we have in addition to our being that the stone doesn't have. Okay, so that is how you present it. So the natural part is not necessarily the fixed part. No, it's not. People can still change their mother after they are born. They get foster parent. People were born sisters. They say they are brothers now. What can you do? Or they were born brothers. They say they are sisters now. People are changing their their genetic makeup. So you were given, if you want to speak that way, you were born with a gene, but you can change it. What what Ortega is stressing is that there are bits about you that you do not choose. You don't choose the continent you were born in. You find yourself born there, but you can now that you find yourself there, can make decisions and naturalize somewhere else. Change your mother. Some can even shoot. Someone who was born, one of these celebrities, he said he doesn't think it's that father they call his father is his father. His real father for him is so and so and so for so and so reasons. We have heard several of those. Okay, so you don't choose that, and that is what Ortega would mean when he says the natural part. Just like the animal, the stone doesn't choose to be a stone. You have a part that you don't choose, but then the part that you contribute to or you choose will then constitute what? The extra natural part. Then he tells you immediately not to think of his extra natural part as the non-physical soul or spirit or whatever, which he labels as wizardry. Okay. Jude.
Yeah.
Is it clear now? Yeah. If you have a follow-up act, if you are clear now. Okay.
No. Can I come in?
Please go ahead. If you still have a follow-up question. Go ahead.
Okay, so look, I'm trying to talk about the essence of nature, which is not fixed.
No, essence of nature is fixed. Listen, the essence of nature is physical, inanimate things, if you like. You might even want to include animals, but for his symbolism, he used the stone. That one, its essence is fixed. Please, do you understand that, Jude?
Yeah.
Yes, for Ortega, natural things have a fixed essence. When he started his paper, he says the stone is already given its existence. It doesn't have to do anything. Where is it? Let me read it for you. It says the stone is given its existence. It need not fight for being what it is, a stone in the field. So a stone is a natural thing. It is given its essence. It doesn't have to do anything about it. It doesn't contribute anything. It cannot contribute anything to its own existence. That's the stone, natural thing. Human beings or man is not like the stone. So a human being, according to Ortega, is not purely natural only. Human being is both natural and extra natural. So he uses the center and the boat that is partly in water and outside of it, all of those symbolisms to show the point he's making. You shouldn't think of a human being only as a natural thing. Human beings transcend being what? Natural.
So, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, Doc, the essence of nature as portrayed by Plato, which
we are losing you. We are losing you.
A fixed nature
for Plato, Jude, for Plato, all things physical are not real. Their essence is not real. Their essence is not physical. So for Plato, the human person, you and I, who are engaging now, this physical you I see and the physical me that you see is not the real me. That's Plato. Just as the stone also, when I go to the field and I see a stone I touch that I can break into sand, that I can use to build a house, that stone that I can touch, feel, taste, smell, etc., is not real, says Plato. Its essence is the real one. So stoneness, human beingness, this is all last week's lecture. Plato, were you at lecture last week, sir? Did you attend the in-person?
Yeah. Madam, Doc. But
yes. So that is Plato.
I feel okay. I feel what Plato is saying that, let me see, the stone has a fixed essence. I think personally, I'm bringing out a view. Personally, I think nature, depending on the entity, has its own form or has its own essence. As the human is made up of, the human have to exist before acquiring the essence by which was well said by Ortega.
I will have to interrupt. I'm sorry. So what you are saying will be agreeable to Plato, that everything, stone, human beings, etc., have an essence prior to existence. So who are you critiquing, or your view? Is it in agreement with someone, or it is in disagreement with another, so that I can help structure the content so that others can benefit? Otherwise, when people are playing it and I don't react, they won't get what the import was.
Doc, my view is against Plato's view of nature's essence. I think nature, depending on the entity, has its own essence.
But that is what Plato says. So you are not disagreeing with Plato on this. Unless there is something else that you want to say. But if it is what you just said, then that is exactly what Plato says.
Nature is fixed. So if nature is fixed and unchanging, I don't think man needs to exist before acquiring its essence.
But Plato hasn't said that. Plato hasn't said that.
I mean, I'm just using an ideology from.
No, Plato has not said that. No. So Plato hasn't said, you see, Jude, Plato hasn't said that you have to come and exist before you create an essence for yourself. Plato hasn't said that. Plato rather says that things have their essences prior to existence. Everything, including human beings. That is why he doesn't want you to use what you see, hear, touch, or taste about something to represent its essence. He thinks, no, what you see is just appearance of it. The thing's real nature, its essence, is not what is given to us in sensation by our sense. That's Plato. So perhaps I should say that you are rather agreeing with Plato very much so far. Okay, Jude. Right, let me take, I think there was a hand before the others came up. So let's take Obed. I see Obed. I'll take Obed. Afterwards, I'll take Akins. If you could kindly use your name, this is a formal setting, please. I don't want to be calling, I don't know if it's Joycelyn. Joycelyn, check the spelling of your name and let's have a relatively formal interaction. Okay. Let me take Obed now. Obed, unmute and ask your question.
Doc, hello, Doc.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Please, like, I got confused about the critique that was raised about Ortega, and I wanted if you can clarify it for me.
Were you in class this week for the in-person session? You have to be.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Were you in class?
Yes.
You can't say yes, so because if you were in class, it was explained thoroughly. That is why I want to know. If you weren't there, I'll know how to help you. I'm listening, sir. Were you in class?
Yeah, I was there.
And you wrote the critique down, did you? Or you never heard about any critique?
Yeah.
I don't like the yeah. It's not.
Yeah. Sorry.
Don't worry. We are helping ourselves here. Okay. Some of the things I point them out, I can overlook, but some lecture may not and may embarrass you. So I try to help us set the tone right. I wanted to know if you wrote down that critique.
Doctor, please, no.
Okay. So the problem we have or we want to raise against Ortega is this. Ortega is saying that people don't come into the world with any fixed, unchanging essence. That means if you were a banker today, per the choices you make, you could become a lecturer, or you could, God forbid, become an armed robber. The next minute, you may be a prisoner. You may then become an evangelist. All these processes of life that you move from one place to the other depends on the choices that you are making. So we cannot say that people come into the world with an already fixed, take note, fixed, unchanging essence. It means, Ortega says, whatever you think you came into the world with can be changed as a human in terms of your essence, what you are. So you may start as an evangelist, but if you don't play your cards well and make the right choices, you could end up being a prisoner. Okay. Therefore, until the person cannot make choices again, you can't say you have defined him. This guy there, Ibijulo, he's a thief. He says, perhaps that is what you know of him now, but after some one or two choices, he might become something else, better or worse, we don't know. That is why man's being consists in what? Not yet being, page 1, last paragraph. Then Ortega concludes, therefore, that man does not have any fixed unchanging essence. Our critique is this: if you can make choices to move from being a banker to a teacher, to a parent, to a student, then back to this, all this redefinition of yourself, essentially, that we can do according to Ortega. If we can do that, our critique is this: it will mean that we have to be free. He himself accepts that, yes, you are freely able to choose A or B. This freedom that you have to choose, which stones don't have, according to Ortega, this freedom, you are free by force. You are compulsorily free. You don't choose to be free. You are free compulsorily. That is why you are able, as a human being, to redefine yourself. But the stone is unable to do that. Our critique then is, then Mr. Ortega, haven't you just given us a certain thing that defines the essence of man? We are asking him, prior to his existence. The reason is, I can't choose not to be unfree. According to Ortega, I am free by force.
By force.
By force. Look at the second page, your page 30 for Ortega's reference. Somewhere in the middle there, point 2. The freedom that I have as a man, as a human being, which makes me different from a stone. He says, I don't choose to be free. I am free by force. Prior to my existence then, because if that freedom, I didn't choose it. It is part of what I am as a man. Then we are telling them, then that freedom or that ability to choose becomes that which is fixed and unchanging about every human being. So that becomes man's nature. By his own argument. We are using his own argument to show him that. That's the critique. Is it okay now?
Yes, madam.
So you will now do the reading.
So,
yes.
So please, madam, please, doctor. So the critique now is that we are free. The freedom of man is fixed by nature.
The critique now is, excuse me, please. The critique now is man has nature. Mr. Ortega, by your own argument, man has nature. If Ortega says, which nature is that? Your own allusion to what? Man having free will, compulsory is what defines man's nature. That's the critique. Do you remember that Ortega's argument ends by saying that therefore man has no nature? We are telling him that if we follow your own argument, we will end up saying man has nature. That's the critique.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. I'll take Akins now. Jocelyn, thank you. Corrected your thing. If you added your surname, it will help. But don't worry if you don't want to. Go ahead, Akins, Amo, sir.
Okay, no, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Okay, my question has been answered, but I was like, from Ortega, he said man has no nature.
Yes.
His concept, but he should have only based on the extra natural part of man. Yeah. But he came to talk that man is partly akin to nature.
Yes.
So that means man has nature.
No. Right? Okay, so let me help you with that one. That partly akin was talking about the being of man, not the nature. Okay, so I have to help you guys out there. It's just like a link. Yeah, it's playing on words. What your being need not be fixed. By your nature, when we say the nature of the thing, the essence, as he is reacting to Plato, essence is that which is fixed and unchanging about the thing, which makes the thing what it is, without which the thing ceases to be what it is. So Ortega's partly natural, partly extra natural, defining the true being, the being of man, what he calls the being of man. Then he himself tells you that the natural part, you didn't contribute. It means he thinks what constitutes your essence should be what you contributed to. You chose, your choice is included. Not what was given to you. If something is given to you, you can't do anything about it. When I say given to you, I'm talking about if something is part of what you are, your mother, you were born by your mother. How can you be responsible for being born by your mother. You didn't contribute anything. So he has a definition for determining that which constitutes a thing's essence, especially when we are dealing with human beings. He thinks that it should be what you played a role in. You had a say in it. That's why he says the natural doesn't add to your nature. And it is the natural that may be fixed and unchanging. Perhaps, even that one perhaps. But the extra natural part is not fixed. It's not unchanging. It keeps changing. So he built on. So I just helped you see that one is nature, what is fixed and unchanging about you. And the other part is what your being is. So your being is a central kind of being. Partly this, partly that. However, the other part of it is not essential to you, according to Ortega, since you didn't contribute anything to it. You didn't choose it. It is the other part that you choose. But then our critique is, if I didn't choose to have the capacity to choose, I didn't choose the other part, then that one was also imposed on me. So his own extra natural part, which he highlights and makes all the cases about, the extra natural part is my ability to choose, which a stone doesn't have. That extra natural part, too, we are telling Ortega that, Uncle Ortega, your own argument tells us that we don't choose to be free. We are compelled to be free. Then it means even the extra natural part, which he is advocating for, is itself not chosen by me. So you cannot claim that I chose what I want to. What if I could have chosen? Then I would have chosen not to choose. So that if I don't eat, if I don't know beautiful, ugly, I won't rape anybody. I won't eat. I can sit at one place. I may not even have chosen to exist. Who consulted me before bringing me into the world, for example. So the extra natural part that he was bringing to make a case that therefore you choose what you want to be and blah, 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 is itself imposed on me. Then that will constitute something that was already given to me prior to my being. Therefore, it constitutes my nature. I'm a free being by force. I can't choose not to be unfree. So we use his own argument to perhaps show him that man has nature. Okay. Let me take, yes, sir. Akins Amu, sir. Was it Akins who just spoke?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Then I can take Joycelyn Kari now. Joycelyn, did I mention your name? Is it Kakari or Kari?
Please, it's
Okay, you go ahead. I didn't hear that bit, but it's fine. Go ahead with your question.
It's Kakari. The surname is Kakari.
Pachi, thank you very much. Miss Kakari, go ahead.
Please, my question is there any similarity between Plato's view on the cave, where the prisoner went out, saw a new form, had a new knowledge? Can it be compared to Ortega's view on extranatural, where the person decides to aspire for something new?
When Plato's person goes out of the cave, he's not going to see a new form. He's now going to see the form itself. He hasn't seen form, that the reality. That he's now rather grasping the reality. And Plato's symbolism was explained. He's talking about the human being reflecting outside of the physical or sensible world. So when your intellectual capacity, when you, I don't want to say meditate as in whatever, but when you are using the non-physical part of you to reflect on matter. So not what everybody is telling you should be beautiful is what you think is beautiful necessarily. You can ask yourself, should beauty be exposing my something for people to see? Mm-hmm. Because perhaps that is what society says is beautiful. And that's what you see all around. Plato says, can you go outside of what you are seeing for a minute and ask yourself questions? Should I accept something because plenty people say so? Or could it be that plenty people are saying, crucify him, and they are going to crucify the Savior? Could it? Is a question. As you interrogate and reflect, is this what justice should mean? Should this be justice? Is this what marriage should constitute? Someone will be saying, hey, so how will you know? Plato says you already know. When you engage, you diffuse your body and its system. You take all of those corruptions out. You are closing your eyes. It's like fasting, so that the things that your body tells you will be limited. Then your spirit can be more alert. If you're a Christian and you believe in fasting, the rationale is to make this physical body and all its corruption tone down, so that you can have a clearer view of the spiritual. Now, Plato is speaking same, but perhaps he's not using that kind of language. He's just saying, stop looking at what eyes are telling you, your ears are telling you, just that. And use them only as raw materials to reflect and interrogate and analyze and open up. So as you are doing that, you are climbing out of the imprisonment of the body and its contribution to your knowledge. Okay, so Plato's human person that climbs out of the cave is now getting closer and closer and closer to the real meaning of justice, for example, the real just society, real democracy. Could it be what we are practicing? Plato says, no. What is given in sensation is never right. It's never the truth. Give more room for what constitutes beauty. Learn, reflect, ask questions, analyze, interrogate. All the things I've said are not done with the five senses. You do it with the intellect, reason, mind, soul, spirit, if you like. And as you do that, you get a better view of the form, the real thing. Then you can come and have practical applications of them in the cave. Now, Ortega is not talking anything like that. Ortega is focusing only on the human person, who Plato has included in the set of things that do not have essence, you see, in this physical world. In the physical world, the human person's essence is not you. So you, the real you is not your hair color, whether you are short or tall, whether you are black or white. All those, according to Plato still, are not the real you. The real you is not the physical things about you. What I hear you say. The person can be telling you, hey, they are so good to me. God bless you. But in their mind, they want to kill you. The real you is not what I'm hearing from you, not what I saw, tasted, smelled, or what have you. Says Plato. The real you, the essence of you, the form. So these words are used interchangeably by Plato. The reality of you is the non-physical part of you. And I'm saying some versions will even say the soul, some will say the spirit, some will say the mind. The term to use to take care of all that is what? Reason. The rational you. That's Plato. Ortega then tells him, Mr. Uncle Plato, if you are doing your reality things, sense and this, everything you see is not real, don't bring it to the human being. Because the human person or the human being's essence, according to Ortega now, Auntie Joycelyn, according to Ortega, the human being's essence is not given to him or her prior to her existence. Prior means before her existence. Ortega says no, not for human being. You can talk for things, but human being there, even if you came with a certain package before you were born, you have a role to play in it. Otherwise, whatever you came with can change. So you can make choices, born a pauper, born a slave, born a prisoner, but you will make choices, born without limbs. Maybe you were born, with a different ability. You can't see, or you like Bartimaeus in the Bible. Is he not even mentioned? There are people who had 4 eyes. Blind Bartimaeus is captured. There were people who were prostitutes in the Bible. They have been captured in the Bible, and then those who had all the holy life that they claimed they had were not even captured. Nobody references them. Why? If you are taking from what Ortega says, I'm trying to make it substantive for you. He's saying that what you were born with, or whatever was already part of your life that you didn't contribute to before you found yourself existing, that one doesn't play a role in defining who you are. So he's changing the discussion graph from this reality form of the world of form versus the world of appear. He's changing it from there because his focus is on the human being as an existing entity. And he's saying you can't bring that idea of you have been given an essence already. So whatever you do, nothing will change. What you are is what you are. Remember, essences don't change. So if you were made to be a prisoner, no matter what you do, if you extend the argument, it will be like then you no matter what you do, you will become a prisoner. Ortega says, no, I don't believe that. I think people may have been born, may have this naturally given state of being positive or negative, but based on the choices that they made, they can redefine themselves. And this can go on and on and on and on ad infinitum until the person ceases to make choices, perhaps death. So the person can be born a pauper, no mother, no father, maybe. Hustle, 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 grow up, start making decisions, small, selling sugarcane a little, then you come, maybe you even steal a little, become a thief for a while, but the next time he becomes a musician, then the next time he's a footballer, and before long, he has gone to stand for DC, and he's the DC of so and so town, and then the next minute, president, maybe. How? It can go all the way up positively, or sometimes it will branch negatively by the choices the person is making. So how is the person able to make such choices? Because of the other side of man. Man is not just a natural thing, sitting there like fufu, that cannot move. No, not just raw human movement or mobility, but human beings can influence what they are and what they can be. That's all that Ortega is. So Ortega's extra natural part just emphasizes the ability to make choices.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome, my dear. I'll take, I think I'm able to take the last two questions. So I can open the next Zoom session for my critical thinking class. But what we will do is, if people still have questions, because I think I should be available. You see what you people have done to me. I have to be here 7:50 to 9:50 and be with critical thinking 9:30 to 11:20. How? One person. Even not in Ortega's world, can I be at two places at the same time? But we will see. I will take your questions till you don't have any. So let me see. I just took Joycelyn. Now I see Emmanuel Tibo's question. Emmanuel, do you still have another question?
Yes,
Go
please.
ahead. Go ahead.
Please, in Ortega's arguments, he argues that the natural part of man, that is where you give the example of your parents, you don't choose them.
Yes.
He says it doesn't have an effect on you, or it doesn't affect man.
It doesn't, because the natural part.
Yes.
When he says it doesn't have an effect on you, what he mean, I don't think he even says it literally like that. What he means is you didn't contribute to it. You see, so there is nothing to do about that. It can have an effect on you because your past influences the present. It limits your past. Page 3. Excuse me, your future. That's page 3. Let me find it for you. Your past, what is already given. That's your page 3. The last paragraph. I think we read it in class. Here, then, blah blah blah. The last 3 lines there. Your past. Yes, your past limits you. He doesn't say your past doesn't have any influence on what you become. But he says, even if your past is like that, you still choose what you want to do. There's always a choice ahead of you. So someone was born without a limbs. I was telling your friends at City Campus, Pastor Nick, that foreign gentleman, he has his own customized cars. To see him cry, you pay so much. He's an evangelist. He wasn't born with limbs, only 9. You know, and the lady who is all over the place now. My point is, so Ortega would say, yes, the unfortunate situations occurred. The Ebushiapeni took all the properties from the family and left you desperate. Perhaps you didn't even have parents because they threw you away somewhere and some people went to pick you, and then when they were tired, they left you somewhere. But all of that, as unfavorable as they are part of your past. You can't erase them, but you can make choices. Look at the alternatives open to you now, the opportunities, even if they are only 2, and make a decision and move on, because you are still able to rewrite your life. Whether you are copying someone's life or not, it is you. You are the novelist of your own life. That's what Ortega stresses.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome, sir. Then now I'll take I can't see my thing again. Where are they? The hands that I have, I can't see you. Okay. If your hand is up, please go ahead. Just unmute and talk. I can't see it.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Per the notions or claims by Ortega,
Yeah.
can we also support it by saying that? Can we support it by saying that there is always an adage that destiny can only be delayed or may only be delayed but cannot be denied? So when we put our thoughts and our aspirations towards it, we'll surely achieve it. Can we support his view by that?
I think that you may want to speak that way, but he won't fully support all of it because he doesn't want you to talk destiny. You see that? That's what he wants to say. He wants to say that even if you were, if you want to believe that you were destined to be something, that's up to you. He doesn't believe that you had something that you were supposed to come and be. But even if you do believe that, that kind of thing, you have to work towards it. Don't sleep 24 hours and say that I am the head, not the tail. So as for this Ortega paper, I'll get 10 over 10.
So now it's about the essence of your destiny.
I'm coming. I have to explain. So you are saying that, and then you are not doing anything about it. Ortega says you will be shocked. You will be shocked that what you believe to be destiny or that which is preordained for you will not come true. So he will not even talk about you having that essence that you are born to be this or that. It is about what he's a humanist. He emphasizes humanism. That's why when I was teaching, I said, if you're a religious person, then you will link it to your faith. And I do that. I'll link it to my faith. And I'm by God's will. But then I have a role to play. I can't blow tongues to get pregnant. It's a joke. Married women. You pray, but you have to do what you have to do so that you attain that which you have set ahead of you. There's a role to play as a human being. And so that is what Ortega will emphasize. He wouldn't want to even talk chance or destiny. That's what he would call, you are thinking of an essence before your what's the thing? Your existence. No, you are existing now. Take it one day at a time. If something was meant to happen to you, you were meant to be something, you will get there. But right now, what is important is do what you must do. Don't sit there and gloss over it and say, oh, it will happen. What these people have done to me is so bad. They are sitting. Just make choices. But be minded that the choices you are making will influence your future. So if you become an armed robber now, because you have to make choices fair, man for leave, you keep robbing. The day that you go and stand for president, people will go and unearth your background and show you where you are coming from. Your past can limit the present. So your choices must have in mind the future ahead of you. So you make the choices right. That's Ortega. Okay. All right.
All right.
Hello, doctor.
Yes, go ahead.
Please,
I've seen your message, I respond to
doctor.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Plato was saying that essence prior to existence, right?
My brother.
Please, I want to know that.
Have you read? You go ahead. You want to know that what?
Yeah, I wanted to know the essence that Plato was referring to. Was it about the soul or the what?
We have discussed that. We have discussed that, and dear friend. We have discussed that. You see, we have this. That one is the whole discussion last week. Even right now, when I was elaborating, I said that. Okay, a non-physical part of it. Some call it the soul, some call it all of that. Whatever the label he wants to give to it, he says it is non-physical.
Okay. So what I wanted to say was that if it is about the non-physical part, so I don't see the need why Ortega has to react to it by what one can become in life.
But the non-physical part of you could include what God said about you, that you will be.
Okay, thank you.
You see that? That is the reason I don't want to go into that discussion. It could be that. It could be that you know that me, they said I'll be a priest. But you have started Shiwi. Who Shiwi? And you say, oh, this one there, me, I see me also for okay, also for Jimmy. But who Shiwi? I don't know who you know. You see that? So the gentleman is saying, if you sit around and do my essence, and you don't make the right decisions, and so the discussions we had in class should come up now. People who won't learn, they won't learn anything, and they will be saying, I know who I am. I'm the head of the push. So, the person is embarrassing God. We will come back at 2:30, okay, my dear friends. 2:30 to 4:30 for those who would still have some questions. I'll be meeting the second group for City Campus. Let me go and help our critical team. Okay. If you make time, hopefully I'll record that also. My dear Joanna, I saw your message in the chat.
I have a question.
Oh, please, I beg you, let me do that for them. They are going to write a mid-sentence. I'll be back at 2:30, I promise. Okay. So we engage a bit more. So send me all those questions if you like on WhatsApp. And when I come, I'll just be responding to them. Also with the chat here, I have all the chats. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful morning till 2:30.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Madam Singh, I know who I am.
It's not Orisa.